Good morning or good evening, wherever you are. You are listening to The Truth with your host, 40, broadcasting from Coleman County, Alabama.
Welcome to The Truth, and thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm your host, 40. This is our first ever broadcast, our first episode of the show. And be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thetruthby40, or excuse me, The Truth with 40. Today's topic is on militarized police. We're bringing it to you by popular demand. That's what people requested I talk about, and that's how I'm going to do shows. Is if you just tell me each week on the Facebook page what you want me to talk about, and that's what we'll talk about. Now, the idea of militarized police and the police state is an idea that some people, would say, "Well, that will never happen here. That will, never happen in a free country like America." Well, imagine police rolling down your street in tanks and armored vehicles enforcing laws alongside the military. It's not a good idea, and it's not a pleasant and comforting idea. So I guess that's probably why, people don't want to think about things that are uncomfortable. But there are stories, in the news that these things are happening. And, here on the ACLU.org, they have an article called The Militarization of Policing in America. It says, "Towns don't need tanks." Says, American neighborhoods are increasingly being policed by cops armored with the weapons and tactics of war. Federal funding in the billions of dollars has allowed state and local police departments to gain access to weapons and tactics created for overseas combat theaters, and yet very little is known about exactly how many police departments have military weapons and training, how militarized the police have become, and how extensively federal money is incentivizing this trend. It's time to understand the true scope of the militarization of policing in America and the impact it is having in our neighborhoods. Since March 6th, ACLU affiliates in 25 states filed over 260 public records requests with law enforcement agencies and National Guard offices to determine the extent to which federal funding and support has fueled the militarization of state and local police departments. Stay tuned as this project develops. So, you see, I think a lot of people see it, in different cities across the country. There's 10 stories they have posted here on their website. Confused after throwing a deafening and blinding flashbang into a home, police mistakenly shot and killed a sleeping 7-year-old. A county sheriff's department in South Carolina has an armored personnel carrier dubbed the Peacemaker, which can shoot weapons that the U.S. military specifically refrains from using on people. Specifically here in Coleman, I'm sure a lot of you saw the post on Facebook. I shared it, and I know a lot of people did, that the city police department just apparently received a free armored vehicle. They went into Mississippi to Hattiesburg and picked it up. But, I guess the police chief or the investigator that picked it up I can't recall exactly who it was. They said something to the effect of, people are going to wonder what we need this for, that this is a waste. That I guess he's referring to a waste of money, but, the thing that bothers me is not the money so much, but more of what are you going to do with it? We see these things happening all across the country, these police departments getting all this military vehicle to be used for war. What does the police department need that for? Is he going to say, we're going to use it for hostage situations? Well, when has there been hostage situations in Coleman County? I don't know of any. Maybe there is, and I just don't know. But it seems a little much for me. This thing's got a turret on top for a machine gun and all this and that. I don't see why police would use that. Here's another story. New Hampshire police received federal funds for a counterattack vehicle, asking what red-blooded American cop isn't going to be excited about getting a toy like this. So that figures. 2 SWAT teams shut down a neighborhood in Colorado for 4 hours to search for a man suspected of stealing a bicycle and merchandise from Walmart. That's ridiculous. Why would the SWAT team shut down an entire neighborhood over a bicycle? You know, this just shows that, you know, the police use excessive force, and our liberties are being eaten away every single day. I think everybody knows that. Here's another story. A company in Arizona submitted a patent for shock cuffs, which can be used by cops to remotely administer a taser-like shock to detainees. Police in North Dakota borrowed a $154 million Predator drone, $154 million Predator drone from Homeland Security to arrest a family who refused to return 6 cows that wandered onto their farm. Police in Arkansas announced plans to patrol streets wearing full SWAT gear and carrying AR-15 rifles. Drone manufacturers may offer police remote-controlled drones with weapons like rubber bullets, tasers, and tear gas. An Arizona SWAT team defended shooting an Iraq war veteran 60 times during a drug raid, but had to retract its claim that the veteran shot first. The New York City Police Department disclosed that it destroyed counter-terror measures against Occupy movement predators. Oh, protesters, not predators. They're not predators, they were protesters. Well, they may be predators, I don't know. But, these are all examples of, the things that people say can't happen in America. Here's a story from TheGuardian.com. America's police are looking more like the military. A Defense Department program transfers military-grade weapons and vehicles to local law enforcement. It's the last thing we need. Let's see. America's streets are looking more and more like a war zone. Last week, in a small county in upstate New York with a population of roughly 120,000 people, county legislators approved the receipt of a 20-ton mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle donated by the U.S. Defense Department to the county sheriff. Between the armored personnel carriers locking down main streets in major American cities, mimicking our vehicles in Afghanistan, or special weapons and tactics and special forces units canvassing our country, if we're not careful, the militarization of our domestic policing will make over America, and fast. And I agree. And people wonder, well, why would they do that? Why would they do that to us? Why would they want to, why would they be busting in people's houses, searching them for no reason, blah, 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 this and that? Well, control. I mean, people are afraid. The American people are afraid. People will say, oh, they're not going to do that. There will be no police state because it'll cause a civil war and the people will fight back. Really? You really think that? I mean, a lot of people are terrified of the government, and they know that. So that's why they're able to do these things. They're able to do these things because we allow them to, the saying that people repeat over and over and over, and actually I feel the wrong way. Freedom isn't free. And that's true. It doesn't just apply to war. It doesn't apply to us sending troops into countries that we don't need troops in. We have to protect our freedoms. Nobody's going to do it for us. There's tons of quotes from the founding fathers on this to show that is the case. That is true. But we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Sit tight.
Those who don't read are easy to mislead. What a great thing for rulers that people just don't think. Illusions and lies make us feel that we're free, but the truth will prevail. Eventually, everyone's a hypocrite to a certain degree, cause most of us are blind and can't truly see. People think the way they are is the only way to be. So many live by corruption with a capital C. People living off unemployment for years at a time, feeling sorry for themselves and not even trying. I said it's about time that you find a new grind. Take care of yours, cause I'ma take care of mine. Nobody wants to hear their mistakes or their flaws. They'd rather talk about other people and run the jaw. Self-destruction, corruption, we gotta change something. If you look inside yourself and see nothing, and that's the truth. And that's the truth. And that's the truth. And that's the truth. The economy fell, and now nobody's got a job. People are gonna feed their children even if they have to rob. The unemployment rate is fell, I don't see the effect. So many are still struggling, not bringing in a check. Kids worried about the Facebook page, but not the grades. Technology, innovation, putting us in our grave. People believe reality TV, when reality TV ain't really reality. They're looking at others to show them how to be, even if those on the shows are behaving negatively. Parents blaming the game for what their kids do, but what your kids see is right and wrong is all on you. You can't sneeze in public without somebody suing. This is ridiculous, now what are your people doing? You better make things right, you may not have much time, cause every single day you know you're dying. And that's the truth. 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 Let's stop taking everything the way it is. Let's make a change, start thinking a little bit. Look at the truth, not what we see as the truth.
Okay, welcome back to The Truth with me, your host, 40. Tonight we're talking about militarization, that's a hard word to say, militarization of the police forces in America. I want to get into, a lot of things tie into this, I think. Gun control is a big one. People may wonder, why would they take our guns? Well, if everybody was armed like the Constitution says we can be, not for hunting, but for defending our liberty from our own government, then these things couldn't happen, right? So I feel like they're going to try to take our guns, and then we have martial law, and the government and the police and the military, they're running our everyday lives as it is, and it'll be even more at that point. Look at the NSA. We know they're spying on us. You had George Bush. He created the Patriot Act, which is a huge deal. People are like, oh, well, they're trying to protect us from the terrorists. They're trying to protect us from this and that and all whatever. It's unconstitutional. That's all there is to it. I don't see why there could be any debate about it. Being able to bust into people's houses and search them and confiscate things with no warrant, that's not okay. It's not constitutional. It's not right in any way. The founding fathers were very clear on how we needed to keep our government in check, and we're not doing it. These things are wrong, and people are just sitting back letting it happen. Or, people will say things like, oh, well, at least we're not this country, at least we're not that country. America is still the freest country in the world. Well, that's not true. You can look this stuff up. We're not the freest country in a lot of ways. We have more laws than a lot of other countries, and to me, when you have more laws, the more laws there are, the less free the people the less free the people are. And a lot of the laws that we have are unconstitutional. A lot of the laws that we have just restrict our liberty. And they use fear. You know, they say, "Oh, well, you know, we got to make sure the American people are safe." Mitt Romney said that the American people the American people's safety should be the president's number one concern. Really? Because the main purpose of government, the role of government, the only role of government should be to protect the liberty of the people. You know, I don't feel like I need the government to protect me. I don't know about you, but police don't make me feel safer. Me having a gun makes me feel safer, but they want to, you know, stop that. Rights for hunters only. Like I said, and I mean, that's a ridiculous statement. Like, oh, well, you know, they should make these assault rifles illegal because you don't need something like that to hunt with. You don't need a magazine that can carry over so many rounds to hunt with. Well, that's not why we're supposed to have guns. I mean, you know, that's hunting's ridiculous, you know, argument. That's a ridiculous thing to bring up in the topic, because that's not what the Second Amendment was for. It's a well-regulated militia necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Hunting was not mentioned in the Second Amendment. They wouldn't have even mentioned hunting back then. Everybody had to hunt. If you didn't hunt, you didn't eat. You know, but they keep on doing this. Well, you don't need these guns for hunting. You don't need this for hunting. It has nothing to do with it. They're just going to use whatever they can to convince us that we don't need these guns. If the government is always heavily armed, more armed than we are, allowed to have guns that we can't, then how are we supposed to defend ourselves from tyranny? How are we supposed to defend ourselves from, you know, a tyrannical government that wants to declare martial law and beef up these police stations with all this military equipment and vehicles? And we can't even have, you know, they don't even want us to have an AR-15. Or they can roll up with a 240 or a 50 cal, and we're armed with shotguns. Yeah, that makes me feel really safe. I'm not really too concerned with terrorists. You know, I mean, I know there's bad people in the world that want to hurt people, but they just use these things as an excuse. They use these things to convince us that we're not safe. You know, there's no better way to control people than with fear. When people are afraid, they're going to say, "Oh, well, just do whatever, just keep me safe." You know, that people is how we lose our liberty. Complacency kills. You know, I remember being in Iraq. There was a big sign on the wall. There was a big sign on the wall where we were briefed before we go on missions. Big sign, I believe it was in huge red letters, said "Complacency kills." And that always stuck in my head, and especially with things like this. People become complacent, want the government to take care of them and protect them, and then the police are rolling down the streets in tanks searching our houses, making sure we're not breaking any laws, you know. And the Democrats want to, you know, use their little heartfelt, little emotional arguments, and then you have the other side who wants to use sometimes ridiculous arguments as well, but they're more right than the liberals. It's all a bunch of crap. It's all a distraction from the truth that we're losing our liberties. And, you know, that brings me to the point of, you know, people say, "Well, I'm helpless. What can I do about it? I can't change anything." Well, as long as the majority of people have that attitude, then you're right. We can't change anything. You know, I think the solution is, the problem is Republicans and Democrats. The problem is the political parties that want to control us. Stop voting Republican and Democrat. That's one thing you can do. Vote for a third party. Yeah, I'm a huge Ron Paul supporter. I'm going to just say the only way to make sure we have liberty is to vote libertarian as far as voting goes. Because Republican Democrats, you know, how can you expect people to fix things when they're the very ones that keep messing everything up? And I think they're both about power. They just want their piece of it. I'm not a huge fan of Rush Limbaugh, but he said that the other day, and that was really true. I agree with some of what he says, and some of it I disagree with because I'm a libertarian. But liberty should be the main concern. You know, safety is important, but not to the point where it takes away people's liberties. Personal liberty, individual liberty is a bigger deal than, you know, the whole, the liberty of the group. You know, if each individual is free, then everybody's basically free. You know, but other than the voting, know your rights. How many people, how many have actually sit down and read the Constitution? I'm willing to bet not that many. A lot of people don't know their Constitution, never picked it up and read it, and I strongly suggest you do. And that's how you know your rights. You know what the government is and isn't allowed to do, and I would suggest civil disobedience. When the laws become, you know, too strict and limit our liberty, then don't obey them. Just don't. Just stop. Just say, no, I'm not doing it. And I'm not going to let you come in my house. I'm not going to let you search my things. I'm not going to let, you know, these militarized police run my life if the situation of martial law occurs, which I believe it will. They're going to keep, things just keep happening over and over and over to make us feel like we're less safe and less safe and less safe. And then they can create more and more things like the Patriot Act and have police rolling down streets in these tanks and armored vehicles, controlling our lives and telling us what we can and cannot do. So a big thing that needs to be fought is gun control. Sign petitions, vote for people who run on liberty instead of creating more laws and regulations. There's plenty you can do. I think people should help with the Libertarian Party campaign. Because I know I keep saying about libertarians, but they're truly the only ones. Ron Paul, Gary Johnson, you got all these guys. They're the only ones that actually run and want to give people more liberty and create a truly smaller government. And that's a big thing to me too, is that these police being militarized and all these things happening, everything being beefed up, it's a symptom of a government that's too large. And we have to stop it. We can't be complacent anymore. We have to realize what's going on, accept the truth instead of what you want to believe is the truth in your little fantasy world, and think that everything is just a bed of roses and, that won't happen, and, I have to work and, worry about paying my bills before I can worry about this. I'll just let whatever happens happen. I'll just let the politics, sort itself out, and everything will be fine if I just believe. Well, sorry, this isn't a Disney Channel. If the patriots, if the colonists had a thought that way, we'd still be British, wouldn't we? We'd still be British colonies. We would not be the United States of America. And this country has gotten very far from that, as we can see with these police with their military vehicles and combat gear. But I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. That's all we have time for. Be sure to like us at facebook.com/thetruthwith40. And we also have the YouTube channel. All these podcasts will be uploaded to YouTube. Like, share, get your friends to listen and comment and tell me, what you like, what you don't like, what I could change, anything. Just be part of this revolution, as I say, the revolution of truth. Just support it. I know this is my first show and may not have done that well. If I didn't, tell me. Tell me your opinions. If you agree with me, if you don't, I don't care, but okay. But just remember, we should only accept truth and nothing less.
listen up. Can't you see the truth in me? That's why I changed my name and took off the G. Listen up and understand, I speak about life, but maybe y'all rather hear bold-faced lies. Try to write lyrics that's real and bring it back, but people still looking like they don't get that. I ain't gonna make music that's fake and fraud, and I ain't gonna tell lies in the face of God. Try to understand my thought in my mind frame. Listen close, you'll understand these other dudes are lame. Webby told the truth, these boys are selling y'all dreams, but I've been writing truth since the age of 18. People slowly catch on, I don't see why. I speak about life, man, open your eyes. You wanna hear about how much money they got, or would you rather hear my lessons teaching how to survive? I got good intentions, money ain't my goal, and other rappers getting paid for the lies they told. Don't get me wrong, now I can't bail out, and I'ma go down fighting before I sell out. Listen up, listen folks, I got a story to tell. Real life, wild nights, and a lesson as well. Now listen up and understand, I don't do it for fame, but at the same time, I gotta get paid. Now listen up, can't you see the truth in me? That's why I changed my name and took off the G. Listen up and understand, I speak about life, but maybe y'all rather hear bold-faced lies. Listen up, rapping lame, talking about the same thing. Deep in the gap and not understanding the game. This ain't the way it began, look what we let it become. It used to be creative and smart, but now it's cool to be dumb. Commercialized to all lies, it's all about the money now. Not caring how they get it, from where, who, or how. Nobody cares about the culture, and pushes come to shove. I'm with the black eyed peas, I'm asking where is the love? Thugs, clubs, and drugs, and they represent us, but they're completely oblivious. They ain't even with us. The only place hip-hop thrives is in the underground, like refugees in hiding, scared to make a sound. Hip-hop created rap music, so what's the deal? These hijackers stole it and claiming to keep it real. True hip-hop pumps through my blood in my veins, and if you feel the same, well then it's time to make a change. Listen up, listen close, I got a story to tell. Real life, wild nights, and a lesson as well. Now listen up and understand, I don't do it for fame, but at the same time, I gotta get paid. Now listen up, can't you see the truth in me? That's why I changed my name and took off the G. Listen up and understand, I speak about life, but maybe y'all rather hear bold-faced lies. Now listen up.